Have I uncovered the perfect retirement plan? I think I have. We're going to call them Tim and Kate. Just worked with them this morning, and from Wisconsin, of all places, and they're just crushing. Kate stayed home to raise the four kiddos. Tim worked, and they didn't have that much. They were living, hand to mouth up until about 10, 15 years ago when the kids got out of the house and they started to be able to funnel money into the house was paid off. Kids got out of the house, started to be able to fund money into their 401k and whatnot. But before that, they weren't living large. Dude, I know the feeling, man. I was listening to Whiskey Myers song, Trailer We Call a Home. I said, yeah, that's kind of remind me of us when we were starting out Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's crazy what happens when finally, you gotta have faith in the system, dude. Faith. Just keep at it, because it will come around. Unless you start smoking dope and doing meth and all that stuff. But I don't do that because I like women, all right? So if you don't like women, you'll probably start doing that. Anyway, so it's just funny. I said, did you ever anticipate 10 years ago you'd be a millionaire? And they said, nope. We just kept funneling money away. Once the house was paid off and once the kids are out of the house. It says and remember, this is on one income. Well, but you can't do it anymore. Yes, you can. All right, so anyway, the point being is, so Tim is going to retire next year. He'll be 67 years old. His better half, we'll call her Kate, she basically sells cookies and I think cakes and whatnot for a part-time job. Really don't call it a job. Very active in the church, but she makes a little bit of money. But that's not really, she doesn't really make any money. She's going to take Social Security at her full retirement age at 67. All right, so she'll get 100% of her benefit, but she won't get anything off of Tim's record yet because Tim hasn't filed. So she's going to get $883 a month, roughly $10,000 a year for social. All right. Tim is not going to have any income. He's got $5,000 of an old pension from a company he started a long time ago. So between Kate and Tim, they're going to have $15,000 a year. They need roughly $100,000 a year of income, of expenses. That's what they need. They spend about $100,000. So they need $100,000 a year of income. Well, they're only going to get $15,000 essentially until Tim takes Social Security, and he's going to take Social Security when he's 70, his full retirement age, and he's going to get $48.75 in today's dollars. That's with the delayed earnings credits. Kim won't get half of that amount now. She'll only get half of what his PIA was. His PIA is going to be roughly $3,800. So Kim will get $1,900 a month, or basically coming in, or basically $1,000 more than she's getting now, and Tim's going to get roughly $5,000 a month. That's $7,000 a month between them. 7 times 12, if my memory serves, is $84,000, plus a $5,000 a year pension. So waking up on the 1st of January after Tim turns 70, they're going to get $90,000 a year of guaranteed income, with $84,000 of that with COLAs. Interesting. They need roughly $110,000 a year of income. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to tap into their 401k on the front end of retirement. They'll pay some taxes on that, but that will reduce their RMDs in the future, reduce their tax consequence in the future, and reduce any chance of a widow's tax trap. They're going to be an effective tax rate well below 10%, because if they're spending 110 and 84 is coming from Social Security, that means they only got to dip into their portfolio for about $25,000 to $30,000 a year, if even that. Which means they're going to be effective. Their tax bracket will be 10%, maybe 12, but between 10 and 12% for the rest of their lives. Their effective tax rate is going to be like 8% for the rest of their lives. Now, they're going to have to pay taxes up front when they got to pull money from their pre-tax, right? So because they don't have any Social Security or anything like that, so they're going to have to pull, like I said, about $85,000 a year. And they're going to pay $22,000 a year in taxes for the next 3 years until I keep calling them until Tim is on Social Security. But once Social Security kicks in, even with RMDs, they're only going to be pulling $24,000 a year from their portfolio, roughly. $90,000 a year from Social Security and their pension, $25,000 a year from their portfolio. Their effective tax rate is basically 8% for the rest of their lives, even though they live in Wisconsin. And guess what that means? When Tim dies, Kate, I think I might be calling her Kim, but Kate will be left with hardly any widow's tax trap at all. All right. Hardly any taxes that she has to pay more than what she would have to pay if she's married filing jointly, because she'll lose her own social, but she'll jump into Tim's massive Social Security. You still have some RMDs, but it won't be much because they've been spending down some of the IRA because they got to make up for the fact for the next 3 years they don't have any Social Security kicking in for Tim. On top of that, they can be very conservative. We ran the numbers 4% a year, I think is what I had them, with a 4.5% standard deviation. So they don't have to take any risk on the portfolio if they don't want. Now they can if they want. I told them I don't care what you do. All I know is from a financial perspective, you guys are fine. From a tax perspective, you guys are fine. There's really nothing more. I mean, they've been in the same house since I think '97. They've been married for over 44 years. You know what I'm saying? They're driving old. I think he said like a 2008 Ford F-150 or something like that. I said, yep. They did get a 2019 Expedition, but other than that, it's like they're just hardly any taxes at all. They're going to pay on like $4.5 million of income. I think it's $315,000 in total taxes over the rest of their lives. Dude, that's the perfect retirement plan right there. Right there. That's what I strive for. Something you should strive for as well. Now, again, everyone's different. I ran the numbers to say, what if they pull the money out of the Roth first to reduce the upfront taxes? It actually added to the burden because then they have bigger RMDs and the required distribution would be bigger, and the required distributions would be bigger for a longer period of time. So essentially what that did is it add to taxes in the long run. So that by pulling from their IRA first as opposed to Roth, they're going to save almost like $200,000 of total taxes. I know it seems different because I did a video yesterday, so I'm pulling from this Roth first. Every situation is different, man. It's crazy. Every situation is different. But anyway, the idea these guys are going to be relying heavily on Social Security, very tax favorable. Basically, half their Social Security is going to be tax free. You can't get that in a freaking pre-tax account. You just can't. Tax free. So before you bash Social Security, recognize the benefits it is. I'm telling you. All right. That's the retirement account to strive for. Love your thoughts. God bless. Don't forget to pod that like button. We'll see you.